Well, we got what we asked for. Now, are we excited for it? Final Four this weekend, Saturday. I didn't watch much of the first game. Purdue and who the hell did Purdue play?
NC State.
NC State, thank you. Yeah,
terrible
That's
game.
how I felt.
It's like 30-42 with
just boring basketball.
9 minutes to go.
Low scoring. That's how I felt about Purdue the entire tournament. NC State scored 21 points in the second half. So Purdue advanced 63-50. Second game at least was a little more up-tempo and entertaining and at least somewhat competitive until about 8 minutes to go in the second half. UConn finally separated from Alabama. So we get it. We get the clash of titans. We get 7-footer against 7-footer. We get number 1 seed versus number 1 seed, a team going for the first repeat championship in the last, 16, 15 years, however long it's been since Florida did it. Where's the excitement meter for Purdue, UConn, the game we all asked for tonight?
This was the matchup I most wanted. I'll put it at a 6.9.
6.9?
Yeah.
Nice.
Nice. Yeah, I'll put it at 6.9.
This team blows.
Well, look, I thought Ken put it a good way. Like, can they take advantage of Edey being out there with smaller rotations of UConn? I'd imagine Edey's going to play most, if not the entire game. You got to try, get a couple breathers here and there. Because if he's not what he was against NC State, which even when he wasn't scoring, he was a big problem for them down low, UConn's probably going to hoist another championship. My takeaway from watching the two Final Fours, I gutted through the first game, just like, just leave it on. And I watched most of it. It sucked. And then the UConn-Bama game was a lot of fun. I'm more ready to say or wondering, are we going to walk away from tonight when the game is over, UConn hoisting the trophy, where we kind of say Alabama was the second best team in college basketball because their style of play seemed to be something that stymied UConn a little bit. Purdue does not play that way, and I don't trust their guards the way that I trust Alabama's guards. And so UConn's kind of big everywhere. They're athletic. They're quick. They play together. I just wonder if Bama was a better matchup versus what this is going to be against Purdue.
Interesting.
I'm really fascinated to see if Klingon can just deal with Edey by himself. He certainly has the size. I think he's a little more athletic than Edey. Is he as strong as Edey? That's really the question. But then at the other end, can he, because he's so great out on the pick and roll, rolling, they'll throw him lobs, they'll throw him bounce passes. And I think this game will also showcase the biggest difference between the college game and NBA. Both these coaches run a lot of intricate sets for out of bounds plays, offensive sets. And they run it really, really well, and they get themselves a lot of good looks out of it. So you'll find yourself, some people will think it's boring. It's like, okay, the shot clock's getting down to 6-7 seconds every time unless there's a steal and a transition. But it'll highlight, I think, the very best of the college game. I'm hoping that it's a good matchup. It might not get up into the 70s or 80s. Because both teams, one, dig in at the defensive end. They both play both ends of the floor. If UConn can get out and contest and not give Purdue so many wide open threes because Klingon can play Edey one-on-one, they don't have to double team and all that sort of stuff. It'll be interesting. We'll see how much UConn can actually force the pace. They will want to play. They didn't want to play quite as fast against Alabama because that's their game. They didn't want it to turn up and down. When Alabama was able to get it kind of helter-skelter is when they made their runs. But I think UConn will really want to push the pace against Purdue, see if they can tire them out.
It's remarkable for Hurley to win a second straight national championship, and just like the conversations that automatically puts you in.
Well, the unfortunate thing is you're going into a title game, and the conversation isn't about winning 2 in a row. It's about if Kentucky's going to go steal him.
Yeah, that is true. That is the headline,
Calipari really crapped all over the sport. That was the equivalent. What Calipari did last night, by the way, did not notify Kentucky, was supposed to, and wasn't notifying Kentucky.
Really? Yeah, 'cause that was in his contract.
Yes.
That he was supposed to say if anybody's contacted me.
And I think he's going to be able to play dumb and get out of that little part of his contract.
Interesting.
What he did last night is the equivalent of the World Series happening and A-Rod announcing that he's signing with the Yankees. It was the exact same thing.
I mean, it's wild. Like, Tom Izzo is one of the greatest coaches of all time. He's been around forever.
One title.
One. Boeheim, one of the best to ever do it. Bit of a weirdo. Peed his pants, maybe. Only one.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a lot of really good coaches.
But a coach at his school has won multiple. He will tie Calhoun with this. I think Calhoun has 3, doesn't he?
Calhoun has
Calhoun
3.
had 3.
Yeah, he got 3.
Yeah. Kevin Ollie randomly won 1, too, didn't he?
Yeah.
In the interim there.
Rode a heater. Shabazz Napier.
UConn is just a wild place, man.
I said this after going to the women's regional here in Portland. I honestly found myself a little jealous. It's like, God, I wish I was a Connecticut grad, man, because, yeah, they don't have football, but, man, to be a powerhouse in women's and men's hoops, it does make March and spring a little more exciting.
Yeah, it gives you something to carry into the summer.
And I've always loved the UConn logo. I love the UConn jerseys, the away, the home. I love the all-white Connecticut. I think I like it a little more than the UConn jersey.
I got an old Rip Hamilton jersey laying around that my mom gave me that I forgot I had when I was a kid.
Khalid El-Amin, my dude.
Yeah.
That's one of my first big memories of college hoops because I made a bet with my 6th grade teacher. They beat Duke, and I didn't think they'd really do it, and they did it. Yeah, he does. He gets to join rarefied air in that sport.
It's wild, man.
And here's the part of it. Kentucky can give him a massive deal that nobody sees coming, but, like, I just don't know why you leave. It's a farm system. Everything's plug and play, and yeah, he'll lose a couple guys to the draft. I'm sure the next crop of UConn players, because Swag's right, what they run systematically is very fascinating. If you don't have the ball, you're setting and running off screens constantly. They don't. I watch them play, and I get kind of aroused. It's amazing to watch. I wish my team could run that way, just screening and moving and constantly screen. Because if your defense does not communicate well or has any lapses, you're effed. You're effed.
Yeah.
And they take full advantage of it. It's such a good system. He doesn't need to be quite the D that he is, but, man, is he a great coach.
Well, compared to his brother, he's tolerable.
I feel like in practices behind closed doors, he is a massive a-hole.
He definitely is.
Like, not enjoyable. And at the end of the year, he's crying, "Oh, we did it! We did it, Coach. Yeah, we did it."
And
Thank you.
but he gets him to play defensively because they were fighting all over the top of all of those screens against Alabama, and it's
they've got like 3, backcourt / front court guys that just constantly.
Yeah.
The effort is at 1,000% for these dudes.
You got to pay attention to what they're doing on the weak side of offense. Otherwise, somebody will backdoor you and get a lay-in or a dunk or a wide open three.
Well, and they all crash glass. They all rebound. So it's like if you're not paying attention, your dude is at the glass.
And they don't have a traditional point guard.
No, they don't.
There's not one guy. Purdue has a definite point guard. It'll be interesting to see how they defend him.
Klingon should be playing one-on-one. You should not be throwing 2 at Edey. That's, to me, the recipe because Klingon might get scored on.
If you're a lottery pick, you got to,
just put your arms up.
That's your challenge, right? You want to be a top 5
Force
pick in
him out.
the draft.
If you can
go
keep
stand
him
toe-to-toe with him.
If you can force him to catch the ball without a foot in the paint and make him, shoot from 10 to 15 feet most of the time.
Which is slow-ass lumber all over the
NC
paint.
State lost hold of that game, but for most of the first half, I thought they did do a decent job.
Yeah, they pushed
threw
him
2,
out.
and they pushed him, and they also swiped down. He had a couple turnovers that they got from him because he puts the ball on the ground. It's open range for all of the guards and forwards around him.
I've kind of resigned myself to the fact that we're going to draft Klingon, aren't we?
No,
I'm still hell-bent on Dalton Connect. For me, Dalton
Has
Connect,
he been the best player in the tournament for you?
As the guy you want, or you're just
the guy
accepting
I
we're
think
going to take?
that's who they're going to end up with.
I don't know if I'm that upset by it. He's got a lot of he could be a really good role guy.
Yeah. But again, when you end up with
one of
the
those.
6th pick in the draft,
Scoot was 3 of 13 last
Yeah.
year.
We're short on role guys, man. We need a few
At
more role
least
guys
he's
to fill out our
6'8".
roster.
Well,
that's yeah.
The big that they want is not playing.
Who?
The big that the Blazers want is
Sarr?
playing in Australia.
Yeah,
They
overseas
want
guy.
the Sarr kid.
One last quick note on this before we move on. We'll give some final thoughts on the game. It is funny how when Nick Saban retired, I'm sure folks at San Jose State never thought this is going to affect us. But that's what happens in coaching dominoes. They hire Kalen DeBoer, Jed Fish goes to Washington, and then Arizona steals San Jose State's coach. It's the similar thing of the chain reaction of
SMU.
Kentucky losing their coach to Arkansas because Arkansas lost their coach to USC because USC lost their coach to SMU.
Yeah.
SMU hiring away Andy Enfield started this entire domino effect that then led to Calipari leaving for Arkansas.
I'm fascinated who takes that job.
Somebody's going to get thrown the bag.
Well, I mean, there's a
they're
ton of dudes that take that job.
Yes.
Well, and are they holding out? The name that was thrown around a lot was Billy Donovan. They got to wait for the Bulls season to end. But that was the first name I heard get thrown out.
I couldn't even have told you where he was coaching. He's still in the NBA.
He's been in Chicago
the
for a few
Bulls.
years. You know,
Really? Still hanging
He went
around?
from the Thunder to Chicago, yeah.
I mean, that's a good name to throw out. I would hire Billy Donovan.
But if you've been in the NBA world, do you want to go back to this college world?
Probably
This
not.
College world is
NIL, transfer
oh
portal.
my god,
Yeah,
seems like a nightmare.
hang on in the league. So there you go.